So let's go ahead and test it. And we'll say test file. And it's pretty typical. You go in, you choose a file. We'll just select a random file here, something not too big. There we go, text file. That's pretty small. And we click save. And we'll get, looks like that. Now let's jump over. I'm going to hide this stuff. And we're going to go in here. Let's go into our project that's actually located in a little bit different spot. We'll go down here. And let me jump over to my code for a second. I want to show you the controller. So when this form was created, our action URL was create. So our controller gets called and this method right here gets called. And all it's doing is instantiating a new object and creating it with the parameters from that A file. Now, here's where the magic happens. If we go into our model, there's not a lot in this controller and saying, where is this file actually uploaded at? It's certainly not in here anywhere where it's actually saved. No, it actually is done in your model. And this is a better way to do this, is keeping all this code about what you're doing with that file out of your controllers and put it in the model where it properly belongs. So down here we have a couple of things that get called that are available. Now we don't have to worry about how or when they get called, but we're just going to process this. And what happens is when the process happens, if it says if there's file data, you're going to create the directory, and our create directory down here goes ahead and creates the directory, and this call, fileutilities.makedir_p, will look and see if that directory exists. If it does, it doesn't going to do anything to it. If it doesn't exist, it'll go ahead and create it. And directory in this case is our constant way up here. It's public/uploaded file. So this is a directory. So when we have file data, it's actually going to write out that file data. It's going to save that name out into our database. That's what that all does. So when we save the file, it actually gets called from up here where we do a little bit of work, and here's our save method right here gets called. This is the method that actually does the hard, heavy lifting. It does a file open path with the ability to write, and then for the file, it goes ahead and writes that file data to this file. This is a typical Ruby block. So here you have this file being instantiated. It's a new file on the fly. You're opening it, and then this gets set to this. That's how these Ruby blocks work. And then inside the block, you can go ahead and use it, and you're putting to that file your file data. And it says read here because this is data that you're going to read out, and then you're going to put it into this file here. So take a look through this code. I'll include these files in the working files, and you can see how they actually get built and work and all those things. And it's a very simple way to handle this stuff. You're probably wondering how this actually gets called, and it gets called after the model is saved into the database, which it just saves that name, that's all. It has this filter. We talked about filters, and in this context it's after save run process, and we just went through what process was. So there's file loads.